Hi guys, please subscribe to this channel and like the video to support my project. What do we know about Masons? History says that Masons is a movement that appeared in the form of a secret society which originates from the little-known sources in the late 16th and early 17th centuries. But actually the signs of Masons were discovered on ancient monuments that existed long time before the official appearance of the Masonic organization. So today I would like to share with you information that I have on this topic. Stay with me.
Cleopatra's Needle is the name given to the ancient Egyptian obelisk. Now it plays in Central Park in New York. Cleopatra was the daughter of Ptolemy Auletes and was born in Alexandria in 69 BC. She was a queen of Egypt and died in 30 BC. The historical obelisk bears her name. For so long a succession of centuries, the obelisk has been copied in various cities of Africa, Asia, and Europe, so that the original peculiarities of the structure itself has been occasionally lost sight of, and any single vertical monument that could not be exactly described as a column has been set down as an obelisk. But how exactly this obelisk appears in New York? The Cleopatra's Needle was created thousands of years ago by the pharaoh Thutmose III. After the Romans conquered Egypt in 30 AD, many obelisks were brought to Rome. After the Egyptian campaign that began in the very beginning of the 19th century, everything Egyptian came into modern Europe. Egyptian obelisks have become symbols of international diplomacy. Since the beginning of the 19th century, Muhammad Ali, the founder of the dynasty, had ruled in Egypt until the July Revolution of 1952. He surrounded himself with the French and decided to reorganize the army, government, and the very structure of Egyptian life in European spirit. He wanted to maintain the mostly friendly relations with Europe. But let's back to the more deeper past. So, more than 3,000 years ago, in front of the temple of Sun in the ancient Egyptian city Heliopolis, Pharaoh Thutmose III erected two huge obelisks in honor of the 13th anniversary of his reign. They were carved from red granite from the quarries of Aswan, located near the first threshold of the Nile. In 1964, on this very threshold was built the Aswan Dam. During the Persian Wars, the obelisk fell and were damaged. In the year 12 of the new era, the Emperor Augustus transferred this obelisk to Alexandria and installed them in the Caesareum. The Caesareum was built by Cleopatra in honor of her beloved Julius Caesar. After some time, one of the obelisks fell and remained buried in the sand for the next almost 2,000 years, which allowed the inscriptions carved on it to be well preserved. In 1890, the buried in the sand obelisk Muhammad decided to give to England. England favorably accepted the gift, but was in a hurry to take it. The government did not want to bear the cost of transportation. 10 years later, Muhammad presented to France another obelisk made of pink marble, which stood at the entrance to the Luxor temple. Its twin still stands at Luxor temple in Egypt. The obelisk was delivered to Paris in the early 1830s and installed on the place of Concorde. The obelisk was transported by the French corvette Sphinx. On the pedestal of the obelisk are engraved schemas of dismantling, loading, and installing it in Paris. But the British did not take their gift until the 70s. They could not find the money. In 1877, the famous physician James Wilson sponsored its transportation. The obelisk was dug out of the sand and placed on an iron pontoon specially made for this purpose. They attached a steering wheel, a wheelhouse to the pontoon and called it Cleopatra. He was supposed to be towed to London by the ship Olga. However, on the way to England, the expedition got into a severe storm, and the pontoon became unmanageable. A boat was launched from the ship with 6 sailors who died trying to save the Cleopatra. In the end, the rest of Cleopatra's crew were rescued, but the obelisk itself was uncoupled from the tugboat. 3 days later, at the end of the storm, the Spaniards discovered it and took it to themselves for repairs. In January 1878, the obelisk finally arrived in London. 10 years after that, when London installed their obelisk on the bank of the Thames, the Americans also wanted such an obelisk for themselves. The United States ambassador to Egypt was promised the obelisk several times, and in 1877 secured a writing contract. The contract stated that the obelisk would not be installed in the capital of America, but in New York. When, under the leadership of Lieutenant Goring, a member of Masonic Lodge in New York, the obelisk was raised for subsequent transportation, numerous symbolic signs were found under it. And from the lieutenant's point of view, the symbols were Masonic. A Masonic Lodge in Egypt urgently convened a commission that judged these signs as Masonic symbols of the highest importance. Quite interesting are the discoveries of Masonic symbols in one of the monuments at Uxmal that located in Yucatan, Mexico. The name Uxmal means 3 times rebuilt in the Maya language. Ox being 3, and mal, a particle that united to a number, serves to indicate that a thing has been repeated. Here is a monument built on the top of a high artificial mound of peculiar construction. To a certain height, it has the shape of a truncated elliptical cone, the upper side of which serves as a base to a building composed of 2 rooms. There is also on Bonin gradated perpendicular truncated pyramid, 8 meters 50 centimeters high. The top of this pyramid forms a terrace, and on this terrace is built the edifice commonly called, according to an ancient legend, the Dwarf's house. The building is composed of 3 apartments, and originally it had no communication with each other. The door of the middle room faced the west and led to the terrace formed by the roof of the sanctuary. Both the floors of these rooms were painted red. Their ceilings, like those of the apartment in all the monuments of Yucatan and Central America, form a triangular arc. Same arc found also in the ancient monuments of Egypt and Greece. In the court of the priest palace of Uxmal was found a stone. It represents the portion of the body from the waist to halfway down. Another stone was found in the same place, sculptured Kabbalistic symbols. Crossbones form also part of the ornaments of the east wing of the priest palace. This part of the building seems to be used by the high priest. Among huge amount of books I have found on this topic in the Vatican Library, I have found an interesting information that in the Capitolini museums in Rome there are also several Masonic memorials, and the most interesting from them is a doorway or the family tomb of Marcus Aebitus, found on the Appian Way. In that book is also writing that on the tomb there is an inscription that Marcus Aebitus was the master of Mason. But unfortunately, it actually was the only information I was able to find about this Marcus Aebitus. What do we know about Pythagoras? His name is closely associated with mathematics and geometry, but there is also a legend that Pythagoras was one of the first Masons. It's authentically known that he founded an esoteric society and was revered in it for many centuries. Pythagoras lived in the 6th century BC. He was from the island of Samos. He spent almost his entire life in Egypt and Babylon, learning wisdom from the priests. Upon his return to Hellas, he began to pass on the knowledge he had received to his students. Pythagoras carefully selected his students and created a system of initiation for them. The doctrine of Pythagoreans was divided into two parts: what they taught the rest of the people and what they were never divulged to the uninitiated. An open doctrine was the doctrine of ideal structure of society. Pythagoras taught that a caste of wise men should be at the head of the state, to which the people must conditionally obey. Only they know what is needed for the common good of people. To implement his ideas, Pythagoras went to Great Greece, as the Such of Italy, colonized by Greeks, was called. There, a mile tyrann of the city of Croton, and in the past a famous athlete, a multiple winner of all pan-Greek games, became his devoted student. Milo allowed Pythagoras to put his teaching into practice. The close doctrine of the Pythagoreans was based on the belief in the harmony of numbers reflected in the law of mathematics and music. Their model of the universe is amazing for that time. They said that Earth is not stationary but rotates together with the Sun and other luminaries around a certain fire located in the center of the universe. So the Pythagoreans were the first to teach that the Earth was round. The Pythagoreans believed in the transmigration of souls. Entry into the Pythagorean brotherhood meant familiarity with the secret teaching on how to recover and preserve the knowledge of one's personal reincarnations. It was also considered important to abstain from meat and beans. Property in the brotherhood of the Pythagoreans was considered common. At the same time, people who were not dedicated to the brotherhood, even relatives, became strangers to them.
History has many questions that we can't find answer to. That's all for today. I thank you for your attention. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video. And see you in my new videos. Bye bye.